Hi everyone, let us discuss the question paper of KSET 2021 Physics. Let's take one by one question and try to understand and try to analyze what they have given and how we have to do it and how fast we can do it. See here, the very first question is based on photoelectric effect. That is based on the Einstein photoelectric equations. Like here, they have given work function of the metal is 1 electron volt and wavelength 3000 angstroms and is incident on this metal surface. The velocity of the emitted photoelectrons will be. See, for photoelectric equation, I mean Einstein photoelectric equation, when you consider, you have one equation that the maximum kinetic energy equal to E minus pi. E is photon energy, pi is work function. If you practiced at least 10 questions based on that equation, then this question will become easy because here 1 electron volt is there and here angstrom is there. So you need one shortcut formula for photon energy, that is hc by lambda, but we take 12,400 by lambda in terms of angstrom, so that you will get the answer directly in terms of electron volt. Then you will get easy to subtract E and pi. That is the first thing. Then after getting, you can directly convert to electron volt into joules as 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So you need to know that shortcut formula, you need to do the calculation and you need to convert properly. Then you have to equate that thing to half mv square, where m is mass of photoelectrons. And please don't get confused that where is the mass. Here electron they are telling. So electron mass is known thing. 9 into 10 power minus 31 kg. So these all things you need to understand and you need to take the formula and you need to solve it in 1 minute. So definitely that takes a kind of what we call it as time taking process. But if you practiced already well, good enough, so these questions are 100% sure and you don't miss these questions and you will get 100% marks. And here I gave you the solution also. Just look at the solution. Like first I have taken photoelectric equation, but here equations are so many are there, but you need to choose wisely, properly, like which one if we take, then we'll get the answer fast and quick manner. So after choosing the formula in a proper manner, like choose the formula wisely, then substitution. See, like lambda we have, but E should be taken in the particular form and calculate it. So that calculation takes here, like if you take 9.6 by 9.1, approximately it will come 1. So those approximations also makes matter, and that you have to choose accordingly, according to the options given. So by looking at the options, you should get the idea immediately. But those all things should be done within the time. That is the actual thing. You all can do it, I think. But within the time, whether you are doing it or not, that is most important thing. That's what you have to take care, please. Now, next question. So these all questions first, modern physics based questions. Like here, the proton moving with a momentum p1 has a kinetic energy 1 by 8 of its rest mass energy. Another light photon, one is proton, so it's a particle. Another one is photon, it's a particle but imaginary particle who does not have any rest mass, but whose kinetic energy also equal to kinetic energy of proton, they are telling, and that momentum of the photon is p2. Then they are asking p1 minus p2 by p1. Okay, that we can find it, but what we require to know here is how can we express p1 p2 and how can we relate them in terms of the kinetic energy, because both of them having same kinetic energy. That is what you should be having the idea. Like if you look at the solution, see, that's why I said formula plus application based. You need to think on your own. You may have to assume on your own. Like rest mass energy of proton. Rest mass energy means what? mc square, the energy equivalent to the mass of the particle. So that is given by Einstein mc square. So that value approximately 935 or 938 or 939 depends. Approximate value we will take mega electron volt. So this is the conversion. Then kinetic energy of the proton is 1 by 8 of its rest mass. So that I have taken. Then linear momentum of proton. Now this is related to de Broglie. So they are trying to combine photoelectric effect and de Broglie wavelength. Both they are trying to combine. That's why you have to take first that relation. So the linear momentum of proton according to de Broglie hypothesis. So root of 2mk. So here k is E by 8. Now E by 8 because they have given the condition. And another one photon. So photon E equal to hc by lambda equal to pc. So direct you will get the condition. So E is also equal to pc because E equal to mc square, mc into c, mc is p. So energy of photon we can write it as p into c. So these all are formulas, but two formulas we are combining, like kinetic energy of proton and energy of photon. So kinetic energy of proton and energy of photon. So those two formulas we are combining. So we got the equation for each photon separately. Then we substituted in this. But here calculation part is there again. Concept is there, and you need to manipulate the equation. Application part is there, as well as you need to do the calculation also. So it's not that easy question that you can do it in 30 seconds. So much of practice you could have done already. Then only you can attempt these kind of questions. Then only you can do such questions. Very fast and quick manner, also perfect manner. So understand the depth of the each question so that you can correct yourself in coming 10-12 days for the NEET examination. So that's why I said it is difficult and lot of calculation and manipulation of equation is needed. Now here they have given graph. I mean graph based question. As I told you earlier also, because in the video of analysis I already said you, when you consider the graph based question, the question comes like they ask you to draw the graph, or they may give the graph and ask the question. So here they ask you to draw the graph. Then what I said you to do, you have to take the relation between the quantities. Y axis kinetic energy, x axis frequency. So if you take the relation, now again it is based on photoelectric effect, Einstein photoelectric equation. What is the equation? There are 2-3 equations are there. But you have to choose properly which one to be taken, because they are taking kinetic energy on y-axis and frequency on x-axis. That's why I have taken in terms of frequency formula, where the kinetic energy is on y-axis, frequency is on x-axis. So if you compare, as I said, you need to compare with general formula like y equal to mx minus c form. Y equal to mx minus c means y equal to mx minus c means positive slope and negative intercept. Positive slope means it will go from first region to third region. So means it will go from first region to third region, and negative intercept also. Like here I am showing you. See here, it is going from first region to third region, and the intercept is also negative. So that is what you need to understand here. So that's why you need to take the relation of physics. You need to compare with mathematical equation. Then you have to decide whether it is straight line, or if it is straight line passing through origin or having intercept, if it is parabola or hyperbola, like curved graph or not. So all those things you need to check properly. So, and whenever mathematics comes along with physics, then it becomes difficult. So that's why you need to practice such questions, and you need to remember each and everything thoroughly. Next, energy of an electron in the second orbit of hydrogen atom is E2. The energy of electron in the third orbit of helium plus will be. It is like formula based and comparison. See, the formula you need for energy of nth orbit electron in any atom. I means Bohr atomic model. So you have the formula minus 13.6 by n square into z square. So that is general formula for nth orbit electron for any hydrogen or hydrogen-like atom. Now they are asking if this is the energy, E2 is the energy of hydrogen atom of second orbit, then what is the energy of helium plus and third orbit? So n value changing, z value changing. So you take the comparison, see here, like E value general formula I have taken. Then first for hydrogen atom, then for helium atom, then compare. I mean ratio, take the ratio. So not a big question, easy question. So you need to know the formula, you need to take the ratio very quickly and properly, then you will get the answer. So such kind of questions are also important. As I said, comparison based questions. Now here, the figure shows the standing de Broglie waves due to the revolution of electron. This is actually the explanation of de Broglie hypothesis for Bohr's second postulate based question. What de Broglie hypothesis says is, for every moving particle, there is a wave associated. So all electrons are revolving in a circular path around the nucleus. So here also they have given such path, so that this total length we can express in terms of wavelength. Like nth orbit means n lambda, third orbit means 3 lambda, fourth orbit means 4 lambda. That is what the assumption or hypothetical assumption taken by de Broglie, so that the perimeter 2 pi r equated to n lambda, and he substituted the value for velocity. See here, de Broglie Bohr model plus de Broglie hypothesis. So this time they have given little tough questions based on modern physics compared to even NEET level also. So if you understand these toughness and these type of applications, then easily you can solve all the 8 to 10 questions from modern physics. Usually they will give at least 8 questions. Now 2 pi Rn equal to n lambda, so that you will get the Rn equation. But lambda equal to h by p according to what? De Broglie hypothesis. So that you take that p equal to mvn, where vn according to Bohr atomic model, the velocity of nth orbital electron. But here the problem is not one single formula we are taking and we are getting the answer. We are taking multiple formulas. Take multiple formulas, combine them, manipulate them, substitute one formula in another one. That's not that easy job. You should be having the clear idea of each formula. You should be able to manipulate the formula. Then only you can get the answer properly, that too within the time. Because these kind of questions, like taking 2-3 formulas from different chapters or different concepts and mixing them, it's not that easy. So that's why, so concentrate on such questions. Means the ultimate thing is you need to remember the formula. Then only you can do manipulation or calculation, anything else. That comes next. First comes revision and memory. You have to memorize all the formulas. You have to memorize all the definitions. Then only you can do something. That is what even I suggest to every one of my student. So they have done, so they got the calculation. Also in that one more they have given, that is Bohr atomic radius. Bohr radius means what? For hydrogen atom n equal to 1. Easy, but do careful manipulation. Easy because known relations, but not that easy because so many manipulations and calculations are there. That is what you need to take care. Now the next question. An electron in an excited state of lithium 2 plus ion has angular momentum 3h by 2 pi. So 3h by 2 pi. So for any orbit, for any atom, means hydrogen or hydrogen-like atom, nth orbital electron means nh by 2 pi. So from that you will come to know n value first. That you should understand. Then you have to find the de Broglie wavelength of electron, means h by p, nothing but h by mv, where vn, just before question also we have taken vn formula. Same thing we have to do it. Like ln, so n value will get it. So lithium, Z value is there. Now lambda H by P or H by MV, V value we have already from the Bohr model. Again, they are trying to combine Bohr model with de Broglie hypothesis. That's why you felt difficult in solving, because it was not like direct one formula based question or from one concept based question. So they tried little bit different and they tried little bit difficult questions. I don't know why, but you please take care. So you can expect that questions in NEET also. Those are all not difficult questions, but you need to take care. See, and in that again one more condition, Bohr radius, A naught value also you need to include. So that you will get the relation for lambda which they have given already as P pi A naught. So that if you compare both sides, you will get P value, that is 2. Now, here that's why I mentioned moderate, okay, but lengthy, not so easy that you can do it very quick. These kind of questions, what happens, like you cannot leave those questions and you cannot get the answer very quickly also, until and unless you have practiced very, very thoroughly. Now, which graph in the following diagrams correctly represent the potential energy of a pair of nucleons as a function of their separation? Actually, it's a almost similar kind of relation like inside the solid. Inside the solid, how the energy, potential energy between the or interatomic separation varies with the potential energy of the solid particles. Same way, this also varies, but this is a kind of like unexpected question, because usually we don't study in our syllabus. So it is like textbook based or information based or direct conceptual based. So if you have already studied, if you have already seen, then you will directly mark it. And here one more confusion, like option B and option D both are same, but it should be in terms of Fermi meter and mega electron volt. Fermi meter, because within the nucleus means the nucleus radius is in terms of Fermi meter, that's why. But if you take in this, it is kilo electron volt is there. One more here mega is there, but here the graph is wrong. Here it is in terms of meter. The graph is looking like same, but it is meter. So like that, they are trying to confuse you even. Just by looking at the shape, you cannot answer. You need to take care. Then suppose you have already seen such graph, you may tick in a hurry sometimes. But that becomes like a silly mistake for you. So take care all those things. So here, like one distance, that is the minimum energy, that we call it as like equilibrium point. In case of nucleus, it is 0.8 Fermi meter. So just try to remember, so that for greater distances, the forces will become attractive. For lesser distances, the forces will become repulsive. Now, in a nuclear reactor, see, nuclear reactor means it's a device in which fission takes place. So when one fission takes place, three fast moving, more energetic neutrons will emit, so that they try to go and hit another uranium nucleus, so that one more fission reaction will go on, so that will continuously goes on. So when you don't control it, what happens is more chain reactions will happen, so that the explosion may happen. So that's why we need to control that reaction. So as you want to control that, then what you have to do is you have to make them to collide with something, so that they come under control, or they need to reduce their energy level, so that they slow down. They slow down, they move slowly. So it depends on the concept of like collision. Like if the heavy nucleus is there, means heavy particle is there, one small moving, fast moving one is coming and hitting, like a ball hitting the wall, then it will reflect back, it will not slow down. That's why it should be less weight, so that it will transfer some energy to that one, so that it will slow down. That's why those moderators are lightweight, not heavy one. If they are very heavy, then neutron will hit and they may reflect back or they may continue. So that's why those moderators must be of lightweight. Now, so here I have given elastic collision of fast moving neutrons with lighter mass reduces their kinetic energy. It's like a direct, simple, means like you have studied that particular thing, means you will remember. No need to apply this elastic collision or conservation of momentum or energy, all those things also. If you have just read it, then you will remember it and you will answer it directly. It's a direct information based or formula based or simple concept based. Now, this simple question, because I used to tell you like gates are like simple questions will come, combination of gates or truth table, whatever it is. So here simple, you take the inputs A and B, so that here you will get, here this dot represents what? That is a NOT gate. So here you can take it. Here I have given the solution, like here A and B is coming as input to the AND gate, but here NOT gate connected, so bar will come, and that is given as input to another NOT gate. So one, but here NOT gate, that's why one more bar will come. So that bar will get cancelled. This NOT and this NOT both will get cancelled. That's why what will remain? AND gate. So it's not a difficult question. Only thing, you should have solved at least 4 or 5 questions based on gates. That is good enough to solve such kind of questions. Now, identify the incorrect statement. So please take care. Whenever you are solving which of the following is true or which of the following is false or which of the following is correct or incorrect, don't be in so hurry to answer it. So there what you have to take care is whether they are asking correct or incorrect first thing. Many times students do the mistake. Also one more thing, when they are asking about incorrect or correct, you think about what options you are 100% sure. Forget about the other options. Don't try to search for the answer first. Which are all the options you are sure about, so that you can solve the question. Like here, a photodiode is reverse bias. So you should be knowing the data. Then only you can answer. It's a theoretical based and conceptual based and information based question. But you need to check each and every option. So yes, it is reverse bias. So you can conclude yes, it is correct. So that is not the answer. And you need to know the concept of like how the depletion region changes with forward bias and reverse bias. That is also. And what happens to the barrier potential in reverse bias and forward bias, those things also you need to understand. Then only you can answer such kind of theoretical based questions. Like here option A is based on depletion region width and option B is based on barrier potential. So that's why you need to take care all those things. And option C and D are based on the photo, different type of junction diodes. As I said, whenever theoretical question comes, you need to take the textbook and read line to line like biology. So you need to remember each and every word and sentence, so that they can frame the question. So until and unless you revise and you read and remember, you cannot say that photodiode is reverse bias. Otherwise, there you will start thinking or you will guess it like reverse bias or forward bias, reverse bias or forward bias. So don't put yourself into a doubt kind of situations. So please make sure yourself that the known things are 100% perfect. So here I have given the explanation. In forward bias, depletion region decreases and reverse bias, depletion region increases. And in reverse bias, barrier potential increases and it offers more resistance. That's why in reverse bias, the current is very less also. And here, LED always heavily doped. So if you study about LED, then obviously will come. Then only the more number of electron hole pair will be there. So that then only that emission of that radiation will happen. So that you will understand or you will get the thing only when you have read and understood about LED or whatever the things are there, photodiode or solar cell, whatever may be. The question can be asked based on any diode. Now, 3 photodiodes D1, D2 and D3 are made of semiconductors having band gaps of 2.5 electron volt, 2 electron volt and 3 electron volt respectively. So which one will be able to detect light of wavelength 600 nanometer? So here what you need to understand is the concept is, okay, whatever the given wavelength is there, that photon energy you need to calculate, like photoelectric effect, Hc by lambda. So 12,400 by lambda in angstrom or 1240 by lambda in nanometer. As they have given in nanometer here, so take 1240 by 600. Then you will get the energy of in terms of electron volt. Then check whose band gap is lesser, so that can break that one. So that diode will conduct. So if you calculate, that is coming 2.06 something. So that is more than only one diode band gap, that is 2 electron volt. That means the mid one D2. Remaining two D1, D3 are having more band gap. So the light energy falling is not sufficient to give the enough energy. So that's why they will not conduct. Like that. Now here, okay, you can solve the question, but until and unless you have the idea of photodiode, you cannot solve it anything. The question is easy, the solution is also not a difficult thing, but you need to have that idea. That is what I'm telling. Definitions and concepts and formulas, those plays very important and key role. Of course, calculation and manipulation saves your time, means how fast you can do. So total 11 questions from modern physics. This is what the complete the type of question they are given. And just try similar kind of questions from the same chapters, like based on photoelectric effect and based on de Broglie hypothesis, based on Bohr atomic model, hydrogen spectrum, and based on the nuclei. But here, as it is CET, they have given questions based on only, except the means excluding removed portion. But here radioactivity questions also, simple questions are important for NEET, that also take care. So try to revise everything. Now if we move on. Now the questions based on the first PU, like here the graph is given between velocity versus time graph. Now if you see VT graph, if you take, you should be having the idea. Here the graph is given, as I said. So when graph is given, you need to check whether the slope or area, which one we should find, so that we can get the answer. So here all the options are based on, like according to the graph, the displacement during. So which duration the displacement is, they are asking greater or lesser, like that. So here from year to year, the velocity increasing uniformly, so acceleration constant, but the area below is only this much. But here this is the area for uniform motion, means velocity constant duration. So this is more area, means more displacement. So during the process of velocity constant, the area below the graph is more, means displacement more. So that's why according to the graph, from the VT graph, you can find the displacement from the area, so that you can conclude that during uniform acceleration is less than that during uniform motion. Uniform motion means what? Constant velocity. So that is the way you can understand. So here I have given, so area below V2 graph equal to displacement, and area below uniformly accelerated motion less than area below uniform motion. That's why displacement for first uniformly accelerated motion is less than that of uniform motion. Now next, a particle starts from rest. Its acceleration a versus time t is shown in figure. The maximum speed of the particle will be. So here they are asking maximum speed. But here the concept is, when acceleration becomes 0, then velocity becomes maximum. Because here acceleration decreasing, keep on decreasing. But acceleration is there, means velocity keep on increases. So at one particular moment acceleration becomes 0 means their further velocity is not going to increase. So as acceleration decreases, even though acceleration decreasing, there is some acceleration means velocity keep on increases. So when the moment the acceleration becomes 0, the velocity stops increasing. That's why there the moment that is at 10 seconds, the velocity becomes maximum. So how do you get it? Here at initially the velocity is 0 because starting from rest. And here final velocity is the maximum one we have to find. How do you find it? They have given AT graph. Now again you have to think whether area or slope. So here area below AT graph equal to change in velocity. Means what? Final velocity minus initial velocity. So take it, then you can get it. So here I have given AT graph. Area below is delta V, change in velocity. V becomes maximum when A is 0. So at t equal to 0 second, 10 seconds V maximum. So I have taken V minus U. That is equated to area. Then we got the velocity value. So you need to understand the concept, you need to understand the graph, you need to calculate, and then you have to do it. So here condition is important. When the velocity becomes maximum. So many times they will give the questions based on condition which you have studied while understanding the concept. Now the maximum range. See here it is like a shortcut. Means generally we study range of a projectile motion, that is u square sine 2 theta by g. Here maximum range means what is the condition? Condition based. That is theta 45 degrees. Then the maximum range is u square by g. So they have given that value. So in that g value known, so you can find u. That is what they are asking. So if you know that shortcut condition, then calculation is very simple. See. So theta 45 range maximum or maximum this much they have given. But here one more thing, kilometer. So you need to convert it into meter. As I said, while reading the question, understand, take the formula, take the data and do the proper conversion. So that is what you can do it now. The trajectory of a projectile is projectile trajectory always what? Parabolic path. That is what you have studied. That is what the equation you derived. Even in the presence of air resistance also it's parabola, because air resistance opposes the direction of motion, so that there is some drag in the x direction also. So instead of going this much distance, it may go less distance. So the range may differ, but the path remains same. That's why it is again parabolic path only. So that is what here I represented. So x square term is there. Square term represents what? Parabola. More than square, 3, 4, anything is there. That means that is a curve. Now, for a projectile motion, the angle between the velocity and acceleration is minimum and acute at. So, acute means what? Less than 90. See, the angle is less than 90 between velocity and acceleration at so many points, but that is minimum at one point. So that is what you need to understand. See here the angle between acceleration and velocity is greater than 90. That keep on decreases and here it becomes 90. Then decreases, 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 and at the point of hitting the ground, it becomes minimum. See, from this point to this point, all angles are acute only, less than 90, but not minimum. But they are asking two conditions. It should be minimum as well as acute. So it is possible only at the point of landing, that is final point. That's why it only one point. But that is purely conceptual based. You have already studied while understanding the projectile motion. Now, a particle starts from the origin at now. Here, particle starts from origin at t equal to 0. With a velocity 10 j cap and moves in xy plane. So now the question is motion in a plane with a acceleration, but it is constant acceleration. So constant acceleration means it must to be uniformly accelerated motion, no doubt. But here the problem is you should be having the idea of concept of if it is two-dimensional motion, you have to do it separately. Like x direction separately, y direction separately. What is the meaning of that is, see, for uniformly accelerated motion, we have the formulas like v equal to u plus at, s equal to ut plus half at square, and v square minus u square equal to 2as. As acceleration is there in x-axis as well as y-axis, means this is x acceleration, this is y acceleration. You need to take those equations for x direction separately and y direction also separately. Like x initially at 0, so origin. So after some time the displacement means s equal to nothing but x coordinate equal to x equal to ut plus half at square, where u is ux and a is ax. That is what you need to understand and you need to do it. So see here, motion in two-dimensional, uniform acceleration motion in two-dimension. So initial velocity I have taken as uxi plus uyj. So only j term is there, so ux is 0. And acceleration is I and j term both are there, so ax, ay both are there. Then x value and y value, same formula. The general formula is what? Ut plus half at square, but for x separately and for y separately. And x value they have given, y value we have to find it. So from x value you find the time value, that substitute in the y value, y equation. So this way you need to have the clear idea on what concept they are asking the question. So how to solve the question? Procedure. This is called like procedure. So if you know the procedure, then you can solve the question. Otherwise, it will become difficult. Now, a coin placed on a rotating table. See, this is like a shortcut based formula. In circular motion, you will study on a table at a particular distance. Then here, if you place one coin, so one is centrifugal force will act and another one is friction will develop inward. So the friction try to prevent it. So it is just ready to slip means what? The maximum friction is balancing the centrifugal force. So the centrifugal force is just balancing equal to maximum limiting friction or static friction. But that is at particular distance. Then at another particular speed, at another particular distance, where the angular velocity became double. So here they are comparing, like I will show you the solution. See here, friction plus circular motion, both together. So the coin is here. Now, the maximum limiting friction is this one. The centrifugal force is this one, mv square by r. But here they are asking the question in terms of angular velocity. That's why we have taken in terms of omega. Now, this value is just balancing this one. That's why it is ready to sleep. That condition you should know first. Or this already we have studied like a special case. You should be knowing the shortcut formula. So that here this is the condition actually where r is inversely proportional to omega square. So if you compare to the final situation and initial situation, r2 by r1 is omega 1 by omega 2 whole square. Because omega 2 is after change. After change omega they made it double. So that's why omega 2 is 2 omega 1. So 1 by 2 whole square means 1 by 4. So r2 will become r1 by 4. Where r1 they have given already. Initially it is at a particular distance and it is ready to sleep. Now at what distance it will be ready to sleep with double the speed. That is what the comparison based question. Now the question is based on elastic collisions. As they have mentioned coefficient of restitution inelastic collision, but here you have to take simply the formulas. The formulas of final velocities after collision, V1, V2. So here I have given the formulas also. If you know these formulas, then they have given M1, M2, U1, U2, everything they have given. Just take the formula and substitute. E value also they have given. Not a big deal, but look at the formula size. It's not that easy. 1 plus minus means E value displays, then also you will not get the answer correctly. That's why take care. Now, a ball hits the floor and rebounds after an inelastic collision in this case. So inelastic collision, in every collision linear momentum is conserved, but inelastic means kinetic energy is not conserved. That is the difference will come. So that's why the total momentum of the ball and earth is conserved. And in collision, one particle momentum is not conserved. Both together is conserved. One particle momentum will change, other particle momentum also change, but together the system linear momentum remains constant. So in every collision, momentum is conserved. Next. See here E is total energy, VCM is velocity of center of mass for a pure rolling body. So rolling body means there must be one translational kinetic energy, there must be one rotational kinetic energy. Both will be there. So you should be having the idea of what is translational kinetic energy, what is rotational energy. Then you can take the total energy. This is the total energy. And they are asking the graph between like total energy and velocity of center of mass. So here the rotational kinetic energy also you should convert in terms of VCM, where omega value we know that VCM by R. So multiple formulas and manipulation of formula is there. Then you will get the total energy in terms of VCM, where total energy is on y-axis, VCM square is on x-axis. So that it is like y equal to, this is something like constant, like m, slope, y equal to mx form. Because here you look at the graph, straight line passing through origin means y equal to mx. So that slope you can find from the graph. Slope means tan theta. Tan theta means opposite by adjacent side. So 3 by 4. So that slope value you have to equate to this one. So that is what I have done here. And when you equate it, then you will get the moment of inertia value. And we have already taken the moment of inertia for each regular shape, ring, disc, cylinder, sphere, and everything. So if you get it, here you are getting mr square by 2. Ring means mr square, disc means mr square by 2. Disc or solid cylinder, ring or hollow cylinder, both are same. Solid sphere 2 by 5 mr square, hollow sphere 2 by 3 mr square. But it is matching with disc or solid cylinder. But in the option they have given what? Disc. So that way you need to check. Now, here the question is difficult actually, because generally we know that if three particles are there, either three masses are there at the three like corners of a equilateral triangle, or three charges are there at the three corners of equilateral triangle, then at the centroid field is zero, whether it is electric field or gravitational field, in case of gravitation or in case of electrostatics. But here they are telling, from based on that concept only, like two masses are equal. See here, like two masses are equal, 8 kg, 8 kg. Then at centroid, if here one more 8 is there means total 0. That means what? The meaning you need to understand that the resultant of these two forces, which is downward, that must be equal and opposite to this one, like this. Then only both will get cancelled. Then only the resultant here will become 0. That actually if three vectors, like what we call it as equal vectors. They are at 120 degrees like this, like this. You consider. So this is one, this one, this one. Then the resultant will become how much? 0. So here only 2 are there. Their resultant is up. Then third one resultant must be equal and opposite, means downward like this. So that these two resultant is like this and the third one should be like this. But here they are not placing the third one as 8 kg, they are placing only 4 kg. As mass is less, then distance also should be less. So instead of placing here, you have to place somewhere closer. Let's take at a distance x from the centroid. But that field also should be, means that force also should be equal and opposite to this one. Then only the resultant force here will become 0. That is what we have taken, that the resultant force of Fa and Fb must be equal and opposite to the the force due to 4 kg. That is what I have written clearly. Let 4 kg placed such that force due to it equal and opposite to Fab, so that the resultant force becomes 0. Then you will get the answer. Now, so like this, total 12 questions they have given based on mechanics, complete mechanics. When you consider, total 12 questions are there. Now, two capillary tubes P and Q are dipped vertically in water. This is comparison based question, direct formula based, comparison based, where in surface tension we have the concept of capillary rise. So if you take a narrow tube whose radius is very, very less, like in terms of micrometers. So if you dip it inside the liquid, then length of the liquid changes, means it may rise or drops by some height, and that formula is this one. But here two they are taking, but both are dipped in same liquid. So T is same, theta is same, density is same, G is constant, 2 is constant. So only variable is radius. So that height also changes. So you have to decide that H is inversely proportional to R. As I said, when they give comparison based questions, so first you need to take the relation, then you need to remove the quantities which are same for both of them or both the situations. Then you make the proportionality relation, then you take the ratio like this. So ratio of radius for P to Q, that is inversely proportional. So that's why HQ by HP. So they mentioned the condition like the height for P is 2/3 of height for Q. So that you will get the answer. And which of the following curves represent the variation of coefficient of volume expansion of an ideal gas at constant pressure? See, this is little bit manipulated based question and equation based question, where I will show you the solution. See, volume expansion coefficient means what? Delta V by V delta theta. It is in thermal expansion, like linear expansion, aerial expansion, volume expansion. But in case of gas, when you consider delta T, delta V by delta T, that too at constant pressure, where gas means PV equal to nRT, as P constant, P delta V equal to nR delta T, like isobaric process. So that from here, delta V by delta T, if you take it, then this you can substitute here in this equation. So if you substitute, then it got 1 by T. So the volume coefficient is equal to 1 by T. So that's why the graph must be like straight line passing through origin, where y-axis is alpha b, x-axis is 1 by T. So the y proportional to x. Don't confuse with this one. This is not proportional to T, wrong. This is proportional to 1 by T. That's why straight line passing through origin. So that way you need to understand. Now, it is based on efficiency. Efficiency of a Carnot engine is 1 minus T2 by T1. where T2 is sink, T1 is source. So low temperature by high temperature. Now here you need to understand that low temperature is fixed. So what is changing here is high temperature, I mean source temperature. Let's say that is X. When X is TL, TL by TL will get cancelled. So Y equal to 1 minus 1, 0. So that is the condition. So at TL 0. So here 0, here 0, here 0, here 0. Everywhere. In all options it is correct. Now when X is greater than TL, so right side. So TL by X is less than 1. So this is less than 1 means, so this term is greater than 1. So increases. As X increases, this decreases. This keep on decreases. So 1 minus something keep on increases. So Y value increases. But when X increases, when X decreases, it becomes reverse. So that means when X less than TL, when X less than TL, see TL by X less than TL means smaller value. Then this is greater. Then it will become 1 minus something greater than 1. So it will become negative. So that's why here you need to understand that as X increases, TH increases. So TL by TH decreases. So 1 minus TL by TH, that means efficiency increases. Such that you need to choose the option. So here, after TL, as X value increases, that should increase like this. But here it is reverse. Here it is not there. Here it is like not showing anything. Here it is showing like direct proportional variation, but there it is not direct proportional. It is inverse. That's why curve will come. But here it is decreasing. So wrong. Here only it is increasing. Like that you need to compare. But it is not that easy question, and it is not a known question also. It is something different and unusual question. But where if you are very good with mathematics, then only you can solve such kind of questions. Even previous question also. Previous in the sense that rolling motion question. Now this is direct question. So total, total energy means energy of each gas separately, and energy formula is there, that is direct formula based. Internal energy formula is F by 2 nRT. F is degree of freedom, N is moles, T is temperature. So three types of gases will be there: mono, di, tri. So for each one F value you know, so you can substitute and you can solve it. So for mono how much, for di how much, then total how much. Then so total, so here three questions are there based on heat and thermodynamics. No. A pendulum oscillates simple harmonically if and only if. See, generally the size of the bob should be less. See, if the string is this much, bob is this much, means oscillations won't happen. That's why the size of bob is lesser compared to the length of the pendulum. And also, it should be harmonic oscillation, means it should not go like this. That is like, then the condition will not be satisfied. Because while deriving the equation also we will take theta is very small. Then only we will take the condition like this theta is very small. The angular displacement from the equilibrium position. That's why those two are correct. So compared to length of pendulum, size of bob must be lesser, negligible almost. And theta very small, so then only we will take this condition, then only we derive the formula T equal to 2 pi root of L by G. Next. To propagate both longitudinal and transverse waves, a material must have. See, for transverse wave, that must have like rigidity, means shear moduli. And for longitudinal propagation, it should have bulk modulus. So for both of them, you can go for bulk and shear modulus. It's a like direct conceptual and information based question. So there are only two questions based on oscillations and waves. One from oscillations, one from waves. Next. See, this also little bit like a copper rod AB of length L is rotated about end A with a constant angular velocity omega. The electric field at a distance x from the axis of rotation is. So here as it is rotating, it is in the presence of see here. Here it is rotating. So there must be some centrifugal force right side and centripetal force left side. That centripetal force nothing but that is due to external agent. So your electric field should produce some electric force and that must be balanced by the centrifugal force mr omega square or mx omega square because at a particular distance. So that both must be balanced. So then only it is possible. Then you can get the equation for the electric field. Now, electric field, this is direct formula based Gauss law application. So what is the electric field? Due to the electric field due to an infinitely long uniformly charged wire. So that field is 2k lambda by r. That's why E is inversely proportional to r. Direct formula. So if you know this formula, then you can answer it easily. Then, see here, one thing you need to understand here is that one mass having some charge q placed inside the electric field at rest. So electric field can affect the charge at rest, charge in motion both. But magnetic field affect only charge in motion. If the charge is at rest in the presence of magnetic field, only magnetic field, it remains at rest only. So here, the electric field is along I cap. So the charge also moves in the same direction. If it is positive, if it is negative, it moves in the opposite direction. Now here x equal to 0, released from rest. Now after some time it is x equal to 0.5 means it is moving along positive direction, means it is along along the direction of electric field. So the charge is moving along the direction of electric field means you can conclude that it is positive. So either option A or option C, there only you can decide first. But you have to take the condition like kinetic energy means half mv square. So v square minus u square equal to 2as. Because a charge is in the presence of external electric field means the acceleration is electric force by mass. So that you need to understand and calculate. So here electric force and the corresponding acceleration. So apply this equation where initial velocity is 0, displacement 0.5. Then you will calculate the v square value. From v square minus u square equal to 2as, if you substitute, then you will get the charge value. So it's like 2-3 formulas together and conceptual application type, not that simple question and little bit lengthy also. Now this is one kind of question like shortcut formula based. Like if a slab of insulating material having this much of thick is introduced between the plates of a parallel plate capacitor. That means initial separation between the plates D means that much it is introduced. So without dielectric it is epsilon naught A by D. Now with dielectric it will increase. But here they are asking to get the same capacitance, then what you have to do? You have to reduce the capacitance. How can you reduce the capacitance? By increasing the plate separation, and they increased by this much. So that's why here the condition we will take like this. So this is with A, general formula for capacitance. Now you introduce dielectric, then it will become epsilon naught A by D into K. But after that, what you have to do is you increase the plate separation such that now new plate separation is D plus X. Initially is D, now D plus X. And you introduced some dielectric whose width is T, where T equal to how much? D. Because initial separation D and you have introduced the dielectric fully. So T equal to D. Now you take these plates and separate them. So that now the new separation became how much? D plus X. Such that the situation will become partially filling. So partially filling case means what is the C dash will become? This is also again formula. Now the condition given that C dash should be equal to C. C dash should be equal to C means here numerator same. So denominator also must be same. That's why I equated. So when you equate the denominators, then here one confusion please avoid. Here I substituted D plus X because here D is nothing but D dash, new separation. So then you calculate this, then you will get the answer. Now 8 drops of mercury combine to form big drop. See, this concept comes in case of viscosity like terminal velocity. There also comparison based question comes, like if 2-3 drops or more drops combined or 1 drop divided, then what is the ratio of terminal velocity? Big small comparison they'll ask. Also in case of surface tension, what is the work done when 1 drop divided into n drops or n drops combined to form or merged to form one big drop? Similar way here also. But here they are asking capacitance. Capacitance of a spherical drop is 4 pi epsilon naught r. Isolated sphere means. Now here radius, it is depending on radius. So that here as they combine, the volume remains constant. So what is the volume remains constant means the condition capital R cube equal to n r cube. In every situation, viscosity or surface tension also same condition we will use. N value always they give such that you can write it as something to the power of 3, like here 2 cube, so that capital R small r relations will come. So you can substitute here and you can find it. So this is like what is the new capacitance. Now afterwards, which of the statement is false in the case of polar molecules? Polar molecule means they must have permanent dipole moment. That means the center of positive and negative charge must be separated by some distance. So accordingly conceptual based you can choose. But you should be knowing that concept, direct question but conceptual based. So you need to know the definition of electric dipole moment, you need to know the definition of polar molecules. Generally in chemistry we'll study in depth about that. Now here, this is completely logical based. See here, we want 6 microfarad, but we have only 2 microfarad capacitors and we want 1.5 kilowatt means 1500, but we are having only 500 volt capacity, each of 2. So each of 2 500 means if you arrange 3 in series, 500, 500, 500, then 1500 we will get it. But the 2 capacitors in series means 2 microfarad capacitors in series means the resultant is C by 3, means 2 by 3. But we want resultant to be 6, that also condition. Then what you have to do is 3 you arrange one row, 3, 3, 3, like some n number of rows you connect them in parallel, so that the resultant capacitance will increase. You arrange them in series, so that voltage will be satisfied. You arrange that in parallel so that capacitance will be matching, because in parallel the resultant voltage will not change. So like that, each row 3 capacitors, like I have written everything clearly. So 3 should be there in each row. Now to get the resultant capacitance 6, let's take n rows. So n into 2 by 3 should be 6. So n got 9. So each row 3 and 9 such rows means total how many? 9 into 3, 27. It is difficult only just because logical. Now, but the previous type of question, usually in the classroom teacher will do it. So if you did the combination of capacitor, this question definitely you have attempted it. Now in the figure they have given QV graph. So again they have given graph, they are asking energy stored. Energy stored means half CV square. So half CV square means, or half Q square by C, whatever it is. So C value, how you will get it? R maximum charge 120, maximum voltage 10. So directly also you can calculate energy. Q into V. But here we want capacitance. Capacitance means C equal to Q by V. How can you find from Q by V? Q by V means slope of QV graph. That you should understand. Slope means Y quantity by X quantity. Area means, area below the graph means Y quantity into X quantity. That is the difference. So that's why I told you, when graph is given, either you should think whether from the slope you can find or from the area you can find the solution. So here I have given energy stored is half CV square, Q equal to CV. So slope of QV is Q by V, that is C. So from the given data I found the slope, that is equal to capacitance. Then half CV square, if you find it, then you will get the energy also. Now a wire of resistance 3 ohm is stretched to twice its original length. The resistance of the new wire. The resistance of new wire. In case of stretching of a wire, we take it like a shortcut formula. In case of stretching, what happens is volume remains constant. So initial L1 A1 length into area should be equal to L2 A2. That means final length into area. So there you will get the condition like this. R equal to rho L by A. But R is proportional to L, it is looking like. But as L into A constant, so R proportional to L square, inversely proportional to A square. As they have given length ratio, so the length relation you take in terms of length, then you will get the ratio. So comparison based, but formula based. Now, here simple conceptual based. See, this is the balancing point in case of meter bits. Now the balancing point means this R1 by R2 will be equal to ratio of this length by this length. But here if you change this radius of this wire, that is uniform throughout. So the ratio of radius resistance of AD part and DB part remains same. Ratio remains same. Resistance may change, but ratio remains same, because the ratio is proportional to length. So that's why as ratio remains same, because this R1 by R2 equal to, here I am showing. See, the R1 by R2 is RAD by RDB. That remains same. So that's why the length also remains same. Which length? Balancing length. Now this is also direct formula. When you read the question, you can take length is this much, area is this much, current is this much, n value, number of electrons per unit volume means number density, electron number density. Where electric current in a conducting wire is I equal to NEAD. That formula you can take, then you can get it. I equal to NEAD, so that you can get average speed of electron. Because they are asking what is the time to travel particular distance, length. What is the time formula? Distance by time. How much distance it will travel? Equal to length. But here they are mixing the concept of current in a conductor and the motion, uniform motion formula. There you need to understand that the velocity is nothing but drift velocity. So that thing they will not mention. You need to realize from your side. Then calculation part is also there. Now here again, this question I have little doubt. So like as current is passing through the conductor, heat energy will develop anyhow. But whether they will consider it as like what we call it as, because as current increases due to resistance, thermal energy will increase. So the work done or heat energy developed equal to V into I into delta T. And as the charge is getting accelerated, definitely you can say that kinetic energy increases. So I am thinking maybe 1 and 3 are correct. Let's see any changes are there in official key comes. So that's why you just have a idea about it, just search about it. Now a strong magnetic field is applied on a stationary electron. Electron stationary, so it cannot affect, so it cannot move it, so it remains stationary. Because magnetic field can affect only charges in motion. Direct conceptual based question. That's why easy. You should know that concept. Now this is direct formula based. So two parallel wires, parallel currents means attract each other, anti-parallel currents means repel each other. Mu naught I1 I2 by 2 pi d. So they have given current I1 I2 same, d 10 centimeter. But only thing you should take care conversion, otherwise you will get the answer wrong, because they have given 10 power minus 7, 10 power minus 4. Also their attractive, repulsive, both are there. You should know the concept, you should do the proper conversion, then only you can get it 100% perfect. So here I have taken and I did it. Now, this is toroid means if you take a solenoid and bend it in this shape. See, first thing. So when you look at the toroid diagram, first thing, till this distance, it is outside the solenoid. So field is 0. Till R1 field is 0. And greater than R2 also field is 0. So field exists only from R1 to R2. That is the thing. From that only you can conclude. See, so this is wrong because 0 to R1 field is there. This is wrong. And here this is wrong because the field is constant. So field is not constant. Field varies with the distance. Because the field formula is mu naught Ni by 2 pi R. So R is the distance of the point from the center. So R increases from inner to outer edge. That's why as R increases, R changes, the field also changes. So that's why you need to take that relation. But here I think, see, the number of turns per unit length. So here number of turns, whichever you take, it will come same. So like mu naught Ni. So let's see, once again I'll try to check it which is correct. I'll send you what it is exactly, but still now I got doubt, because as R increases, B should decrease, but here the graph is given like it is increasing, R1 to R. So it may be this graph. Okay, let's see, let's check it. Let me conclude. But the idea is same like solenoid. You have to check 0 to R1 what will happen, R1 to R2 what will happen, greater than R2 what will happen. Next. A tightly wound long solenoid has n turns per unit length. See, this is like completely like a little bit imagination type of thing. Like, see, there is a solenoid. Now, this is the axis of the solenoid. Now, one charge projected perpendicular to it means perpendicular to the direction of field due to solenoid, because field due to solenoid is along its axis. So then it should rotate in a circle. Now, when it try to rotate in this circular manner like this, then the radius should be less than the radius of the solenoid. Then only it will not touch. But when a charge projected perpendicular to field, the radius formula is mv by qb. So that mv by qb should be less than the radius of the solenoid. That is the condition I have taken here. So if you understand and take that condition and remember this formula, then only you can get it. Where the B is field due to solenoid, that is mu naught Ni. Then only you can get it. Now, so this is also direct. Earth magnetic field means it depends on angle of dip. Horizontal component is B cos delta, vertical component is B sin delta. Where at poles delta 90, so horizontal component becomes 0. At the equator delta 0, so vertical component becomes 0. So that's why except poles everywhere horizontal component will be there. Now see, these two clear, that is for electric field, positive charge and negative charge field lines. This is for magnet, but they are telling which is like suitable for electric and magnetic field. But we studied that electric field lines never become closed loops, and this is the only option left. So that actually what it is it is based on electromagnetic induction chapter. There you will study induced electric field also. So induced electric field can be in the form of closed loops, but normal conservative electric field won't form closed loop. That is why. So this suitable for electric field, but not conservative. That is means electrostatic field, not electrostatic field. It is induced electric field, and this is also suitable for magnetic field. So that's why option C is correct. That is what I mentioned. So induced electric field lines form closed loop like magnetic field lines. Now here also I felt like the graph is not exactly the given, because this is matching somewhere here. This is matching somewhere here. We cannot find the slope here. Let's see what they will give the key or solution from the KSET people. Let's see. But the concept is here they are asking the EMF induced. So EMF induced means what is the formula? L di by dt. So L di by dt means here di by dt nothing but slope for a particular duration. What duration? 20 to 40. So if you know those values properly, you can take the slope this by this. Then di by dt. Then L value given. Then you will get EMF induced. But let's see how they have taken. But I have a doubt in that graph, because they have not given properly, like it is not exactly coinciding the values. Now, this is direct question, because in case of self-induction or mutual induction, flux equal to Li or Mi, where L or M equal to flux by current. Flux means Weber, current means ampere. Simple question. Like it is based on EMI you can think, or units and dimensions you can think. Now here if you see the LCR series circuit, one of the important even for board examination also, here XC equal to XL, so that you can say that it is resonance condition. So under resonance condition you can say like under resonance condition XC XL means the impedance is equal to resistance. So the current will become not epsilon naught by Z, epsilon by R. So that will come 2 ampere. As VL equal to VC, VL minus VC will become 0 under resonance condition. But here the voltage across voltmeter means that is across these combination. So what is the resultant will become VL minus VC 0. That's why voltmeter reads 0. Now LC oscillations. See, LC oscillations means direct it's based on the concept. In the book also they will clearly mention. Like mass is analogy. Like clearly they will mention mass is like inductance, current is like velocity, charge is like displacement, and 1 by c is like k. Because there the formula is like half k x square, the potential energy in the spring, and here it is like half q square by c. So x cube analogy. So in place of k, what is there? 1 by c. That's why the in comparison, the role of k played by spring constant in oscillations of spring. Here in LC oscillations, who will play that role? 1 by c quantity. But this is also direct. When you study LC oscillation, this you will compare and you will say what is the comparison between the mechanical oscillations of a spring mass system and electrical oscillations of LC circuit. Again, they have given LC circuit based question, the maximum charge. Maximum charge means when charge is maximum, energy in the capacitor also maximum. That is half Q square by C. So that Q value you have to find. But maximum energy, maximum charge means maximum energy in the capacitor. That is also equal to maximum energy in the inductor. That is half Li square. So you have to equate it to half Li square, where current is given. So you can find the maximum charge. So that's why here half Li square equal to half Q square by C. So that Qm value, maximum charge value, you can find it. Current is given, L is given, C is given. Now here E0 value they have given, so that see it's direct formula based. E0 and F2 data they have given. So what is the formula? E0 equal to CB0, so B0 you can find. So that is matching. Omega equal to 2 pi f, angular frequency, that is also matching. And wavelength you found, that is also matching. Only k value 2 pi by lambda is not matching. So that is the incorrect option, because they are asking here which of the following is incorrectly computed. So option C. So direct formula calculation based question. But you have to check all the 4 options. There you will consume more time. So here the source of electromagnetic waves can be a charge moving with a constant velocity, moving in a circular. See, the source of electromagnetic wave means the accelerating charge. So accelerating charge means it should be moving in a circle. Then only there must be acceleration. Moving with constant velocity, wrong. At rest, wrong. Moving parallel to magnetic field, that is not needed. It must accelerate. So accelerating charge produces EM waves. Next. Electrodynamics. So total how many questions? 25 questions have come. Now after this, so optics part. In refraction, light waves are bent on passing from one medium to second medium, because in the second medium, speed changes as refractive index changes, so that they change their path. So they decide to pass through particular path so that it get adjusted to the particular speed. Now, here refractive index of glass, I mean lens given, water given. They are asking for ratio of focal length, comparison based question. Because the focal length of the lens depends on medium. The general formula, what is that? The focal length from lens formula, mu lens by mu medium. In which medium it is placed is important. This is same wherever you place, but this will change so that focal length changes. So you take the ratio f in water by f in air. So what will change? Here lens place, lens only will come, but medium water will come. In another case here what air will come. this ratio will get cancelled. Now if you solve this one, all values they have given, then you will get the answer. Now this is the question, very big, options are big, but the solution is very simple. It is based on the concept of lenses in contact, where 1 by f equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2 or p equal to p1 plus p2. So that when 1 and 2 are combined, so p1 equal to resultant power, that is 1 by p1, 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2, because first power and second power. So p1 is this one. Now P2 is the effective when the first lens is in contact with third one. But first two lenses are convex, so positive focal length, but third one is concave, that's why negative focal length. See, yes, they mentioned biconvex lenses and a third thin biconcave lens. So that's why F3 negative. That's why here minus will come. And then P3 is the effective power when 2 and 3 kept in contact. So accordingly, we will get the equation. Very easy one. Only thing you need to understand properly. Then after this, the size of the image of an object which is at infinity as formed by a convex lens of focal length 30 centimeter is 2 centimeter. So here the concept is, see, there is a convex lens and object is at infinity. See, I will show you. So object is at infinity means image will form at focus. So focal length is 30. Now what they have done is they placed one concave lens at a distance 26 from the convex lens. That means before the image forms, only the refracted rays falls on concave lens. That means these position will act like object for this one. What kind of object we call it as? Virtual object. Now this is 30 actual. So this is 26. So now what is the distance of virtual object for the concave lens? 4. So virtual object means plus. So u is given, focal length of concave lens is given. So then find v value. Then you will get v value. After that you take height of image by height of object. Now this virtual object height they have mentioned. Now you have to find the final image height. So h2 you have to find. h1 they have given. V you found, U you found, then substitute. But more conceptual and logical and calculation and formula based. So it's not that easy question, not a direct question. Now here direct condition, it is simple question. So the minimum condition in case of diffraction is A sin theta equal to n lambda. So they are asking a value, lambda is given, theta is given, direct question. Just substitute in this formula. So first minimum means n equal to 1, then you will get the answer. Now, which of the statements are correct with reference to a single slit diffractions? Diffraction pattern means what? Central maximum, then you go down or go up, width decreases of each secondary maxima, also intensity decreases. So fringes are of unequal width. Yes, it is correct. Fringes are of equal width. Wrong. This is. Light energy is conserved. Yes. Intensities of all bright equal. This is wrong. So this is wrong. This is wrong. So 1 and 3 are correct. So here I have given. According to diffraction pattern, light energy is conserved. That is, light intensity decreased at minima appears in bright fringe. Just like interference only. But difference is decreasing width, decreasing intensity. Now, they are not in equal width and they have different intensities, of course. If you have studied diffraction, then that is not a big deal. But this question is difficult. In Young's double slit experiment, this is also not difficult, but it's like a application type question, because here the intensity at any point on the screen means the general formula is this one. What is this? This is the general formula, where 4I0 is the maximum intensity at bright fringe. Pi is the phase difference of two light waves reaching at that point. And if you consider the distance of that point from the central fringe is yn, then you will derive this relation while understanding Young's double slit experiment. So if you know this formula, if you remember this, according to the given question, this yn value they have given as x. That's it. So if you take that, then you can know, get the condition for phase difference, that is 2 pi by lambda delta x. Then if you substitute that phase difference here, then you will get the I value. That's it. That is what I have done. But you should know all those three formulas. You should remember that condition and everything. Then only you can solve. So total optics, 7 questions. So this is what the 60 questions. So I tried to explain as maximum as possible. If there are any little errors are there or any objections are there, let's see at the after the final key comes. But so understand what kind of questions have come. Similar kind of questions you can expect in NEET entrance, as I said. So please prepare well. So revise everything, remember everything, practice each and everything. But don't go for anything new. Revise everything, whatever you have studied so far, right? So thank you so much. All the best. We will meet later. Thank you. All the best.